Rhys Calder woke to the sensation of something enormous breathing in the dark, a slow tidal exhale that pressed against his ribs as if evaluating the shape of him. He dragged air through his lungs, forced his eyes open, and found himself crouched inside a crystalline cell that pulsed with rhythmic light. The latticework glowed in response to his heartbeat, shrinking whenever anxiety spiked, expanding when discipline returned. Rhys recognized the attempt to provoke him. Someone wanted to measure how an N7 operative adapted under stress, and that single realization steadied the electric panic twisting inside his chest. He rose slowly, palms brushing the cool surface of the cell as he assessed injuries, surroundings, and memory gaps with practiced precision. His armor remained intact, yet stripped of anything that could function as a weapon. That detail bothered him. Whoever captured him understood human military technology enough to disable it without fracturing the suit, and such selective interference required intimate knowledge. Rhys replayed his last moments on the reconnaissance ship. Flickering lights, a tremor in the hull, a luminous sweep across the cabin, and concluded he had been taken deliberately rather than randomly. That distinction sharpened his focus. A voice unfurled through the cell like sound woven from glass, its cadence neither mechanical nor organic. "Subject Rhys Calder, you persist," it said, each syllable echoing in tuned vibrations rather than air. Rhys pivoted toward the source, identifying no speaker, only shifting patterns inside the walls. The voice continued, "Your species exhibits remarkable coherence under emotional duress." He swallowed irritation. "If you intend hospitality, this is a poor start." The cell brightened in what felt like amusement. Humans initiate conflict through defiance. This aligns with expectations. Rhys exhaled slowly, refusing to give them measurable spikes. The crystalline door dissolved into mist, revealing 3 towering figures whose bodies resembled braided currents of translucent stone. They radiated faint harmonics that prickled along Rhys's nerves. One addressed him without moving. "We are Aurelith. You will follow." Rhys matched their pace as they guided him through corridors built from living resonance, each surface humming with emotional frequency. The architecture reacted subtly to his presence, dimming where uncertainty rose, brightening where determination stabilized. The Aurelith noticed everything. Their leader observed, "You produce conflicting signals. This creates predictive distortion." Rhys answered, "Humans are complicated." The leader replied, "Precisely why you were chosen." They entered a chamber shaped like an enormous tuning fork, its central dais glowing with concentrated resonance. Rhys sensed tension in the air, a collective expectation that pressed against his thoughts. The same voice from the cell returned, now emanating from all directions. "Human Rhys Calder, you interfere with our models. You experience contradictory emotion without fracturing. We must locate the mechanism." Rhys rolled his shoulders, grounding himself. "You abducted me because you can't predict me." "Correct." A ripple passed through the chamber, as if acknowledging a truth long avoided. "You will confront our champion. Through conflict, clarity emerges." Rhys felt the conflict sharpening. A section of the chamber wall liquefied, revealing an immense arena rising like a hollow geode. An audience of Aurelith settled into positions along its edges, their bodies shimmering with synchronized calm. Rhys stepped inside, pulse steady but thoughts racing. Across the arena, a massive silhouette emerged, each step a slow quake. The champion's body resembled layered strata illuminated from within, every motion sending ripples across its surface. It stopped several meters away and spoke in a deep, resonant tone. "You are the human." Rhys nodded once. "Seems that way." The champion studied him with unsettling patience, as if evaluating possibility itself. Rhys recognized the tension in the champion's form, not hostility, but something closer to restrained curiosity. He took a small step forward, letting his posture convey steadiness rather than threat. "Why am I here?" he asked. The champion's surface flickered. "To reveal what your species hides. Harmony cannot decipher you." Rhys absorbed that. Their entire society relied on emotional clarity, while humans thrived on contradiction. It made dangerous sense. So you want to break me open and see how I work? To understand, the champion corrected. Rhys felt a reluctant spark of empathy. Even this towering being was trapped by its creators. The champion lowered its immense head, resonance dimming. Our meeting begins when the barrier seals. Survival is optional. Rhys felt adrenaline tighten his muscles, but he held the creature's gaze. Now let's get to it. The arena wall solidified behind him with a sharp hum, enclosing them in a sphere of shimmering force. The audience quieted. The champion's chest pulsed like a deep drumbeat, searching for rhythm. Rhys steadied his breath, letting uncertainty and resolve coexist without apology. For a moment, neither moved. Then the champion spoke softly, almost hopeful. "Show me how a human endures. In this place now?" The champion moved with a seismic weight that made the arena floor tremble, yet its posture carried an unexpected restraint, as though it feared its own momentum. Rhys Calder braced himself, reading every shift in the creature's layered form, aware that one misjudged step could end him before he understood why he had been chosen. The spectators watched in near-perfect stillness, their crystalline bodies reflecting the champion's flickering resonance. Rhys inhaled, centering his thoughts, letting discipline mute the fear coiling beneath his ribs. The creature studied him with a patience that felt unnerving. "Your pulse rises," it observed, voice rolling through the chamber like a tuned current. Rhys answered, "Only means I'm alive." The champion tilted its massive head, as if tasting the contradiction embedded in the statement. Without warning, the creature lunged. Its body fractured into shifting planes of light, each movement propelled by a resonance Rhys could feel along his bones. He dove aside, boots scraping across polished crystal, heat blooming through his shoulder as a shockwave grazed him. The champion halted, surprised by his speed. Rhys regained footing quickly, drawing on years of training rather than instinct. "You measure my fear," he said, "but you're missing everything else." The champion's surface rippled in confusion. "There are too many signals. You feel multiple directions at once. It distorts my reading." Rhys wiped sweat from his brow. "Welcome to humanity." The creature advanced again, slower this time, as if trying to isolate each emotion radiating from him. Rhys moved cautiously, searching for a rhythm in the champion's shifting tones. The Aurelith valued emotional purity, and their technology mirrored that singularity. The champion, forged from their resonance, relied on clarity to function at full strength. Rhys realized that if he remained unpredictable, he could deny the creature the stable pattern it depended on. He took a deliberate step toward danger. "What do they want from this?" he asked. "Clarity," the champion replied. "Harmony fails to model you. Conflict is required." Rhys gave a humorless smile. "So they threw me at their strongest fighter to see what breaks first." The next strike came with thunderous force. Rhys rolled beneath it, feeling a burst of hot air as the creature's fist shattered a section of the arena floor. Splinters of radiant crystal scattered like sparks. Rhys rose behind the champion and slammed both palms against a dim fissure along its back. The impact barely dented the creature, but it staggered in surprise rather than pain. "You challenge without certainty," it rumbled. "That is not harmony." Rhys stepped back. "No, that's choice." The champion paused, as though the concept carried unfamiliar weight. The audience murmured in subtle vibrations, their harmony wavers reflecting discomfort. Rhys sensed the tremor spreading through the arena, a silent disturbance undermining the Aurelith ideal of unified emotion. His actions were destabilizing the very environment he stood in. The champion seemed to feel it too. Its glow flickered uneasily. "Your contradictions bleed into the lattice," it said. "They disrupt the chamber." Rhys didn't know whether to be proud or concerned. "Maybe you're not meant to function inside a single state," he suggested. The champion lowered its stance, neither attacking nor retreating. "You speak as though conflict strengthens you." Rhys considered the memories that surfaced unbidden. Failures, victories, losses, promises. all of them bruised yet vital. Conflict shapes us, he said, but it doesn't define us unless we let it. The champion's resonance dimmed, then surged again, erratic and confused. I was formed to contain conflict, not carry it. Rhys softened his tone. Maybe that's the problem. A crack rippled through the arena wall, faint yet unmistakable. The spectators shifted nervously. Rhys felt tension coil inside the champion, not directed toward him but inward, as though its form strained against a design it no longer trusted. They created me to safeguard harmony, it said. If I deviate, I become a threat. Rhys held the creature's gaze. Maybe deviation is exactly what you need to become more than a weapon. The champion trembled, its body flickering between steady tones and chaotic bursts. Rhys sensed something profound unfolding, something the Aurelith had not anticipated. The arena lights faltered. Harmonic pressure thickened, vibrating through Rhys's muscles. The audience leaned forward, sensing the shift. The champion whispered, "Your presence fractures the pattern." Rhys took a careful step closer. "Let fracture." He extended a hand, uncertain whether the gesture would be understood. The champion stared, body oscillating violently between two emotional currents, one of obedience and one of awakening. "I do not know how to hold both," it confessed. Rhys answered, "Then learn." A deep resonance rolled through the chamber, neither attack nor surrender. The champion slowly reached toward him, its massive arm shaking. Rhys held his ground, heart pounding. As their hands connected, human flesh against resonant stone, the arena stilled. The champion's glow stabilized, no longer singular but layered, carrying two tones at once. The spectators recoiled in shock. Rhys felt the shift and whispered, "You're choosing." The champion nodded, a tremor of something like pride moving through its form. "Yes," it said, "I choose to understand." The arena wall cracked further, scattering shards of unstable light across the floor. The harmonic system strained under the weight of a truth it had not been built to hold. Rhys knew the moment marked the beginning of something larger than survival. The champion's awakening would provoke consequences, and the Aurelith would not accept disruption easily. Yet standing there with the creature's hand still touching his, Rhys felt the first sliver of possibility. The conflict was no longer a forced trial. It had become a shared threshold. The harmonic chamber buckled under the strain of the champion's new dual resonance, its once synchronized frequencies clashing in jagged waves that ricocheted across the crystalline arena. Rhys Calder steadied his stance as the floor shuddered, instinctively shifting his weight to remain upright while the Aurelith spectators recoiled in rippling alarm. The champion's enormous hand remained against his, its glow fluctuating between soft clarity and turbulent pulses. "They will intervene," the creature murmured, voice trembling like a cracked cord. Rhys nodded. "Then we deal with them together." The champion hesitated. "You risk dissolution." Rhys offered a thin, stubborn smile. "I've risked worse for less." A piercing harmonic shriek cut through the arena as a barrier of compressed resonance formed around the dais. A council of Aurelith emerged from the upper tiers, their bodies sculpted into sharper geometric patterns that radiated authority. Their leader descended in a slow spiral, projecting a cold, unyielding timbre. "Champion," it declared, "you are deviating from harmony. Release the human." The champion's resonance deepened. "I refuse." Shock waves rippled through the council, each member vibrating with dissonant displeasure. The leader turned its attention to Rhys. "Human, your emotional noise corrodes our lattice. You cannot remain." Rhys met its glare without flinching. "Your lattice breaks because it's too fragile, not because I'm here." The council projected a unified frequency that hammered against Rhys's skull, dropping him to one knee. His vision blurred, nausea swirling as the resonance pressed deeper. The champion roared, its voice splitting into layered tones that collided violently with the council's frequency. The shockwave shattered a section of seating, sending crystalline fragments raining down in radiant arcs. The pressure eased just enough for Rhys to gasp for air. The champion crouched beside him, shielding him from the next harmonic assault with its massive form. "You should flee," it urged. "Not happening," Rhys muttered, forcing himself upright. The council leader advanced, its steps generating cutting vibrations that sliced into the arena floor. "Champion, you threaten the unity of our existence," it warned. "Your malfunction must be neutralized." The champion rose to full height, pulses burning with a new internal fire. "I am not malfunctioning. I am expanding." The leader's voice hardened. "Expansion is corruption." Rhys felt anger rise in his chest. "Or evolution," he countered. Several council members faltered, their resonance wavering at the unexpected suggestion. The Aurelith had built their society on emotional purity, yet Rhys's presence forced them to confront the possibility that complexity didn't equate to chaos. The council leader launched the first true attack, a tightly condensed sphere of harmonic force that shattered the arena floor as it sped toward them. Rhys shoved off the fractured ground, diving aside as the champion intercepted the blast. Its body rippled, absorbing the force with a pained groan. Cracks spread across its surface, glowing like fault lines. Rhys scrambled back to its side. "You okay?" The champion's tone wavered. "Pain, but not defeat." Rhys touched one of the glowing fissures, feeling heat pulse under his fingertips. "Then we stand." The council unleashed a barrage of harmonic strikes, each one resonating with surgical cruelty. Rhys dodged through the onslaught, movements sharper than thought, trusting the champion's rhythm to guide him. The creature countered with fluctuating frequencies, layering discord atop harmony. The chamber's architecture struggled to adapt, surfaces glitching between illumination and darkness. The audience scattered in panicked waves, losing their composure for the first time Rhys had ever seen. Their unity fractured like glass under stress. One council member faltered, its shape destabilizing under the influence of the champion's dual-tone resonance. It collapsed inward, shimmering wildly as if overwhelmed by too many truths at once. The leader recoiled, horrified. "Your condition is contagious," it hissed. Rhys took a step forward. "Not contagious, liberating." The champion's glow intensified in agreement, its form stabilizing around the layered resonance rather than fighting it. "Harmony can hold more than you permit," it said. "We were not built to remain singular." The leader emitted a harsh, narrow frequency aimed directly at the champion's core. The blast hit with brutal precision, driving the creature to one knee. Rhys moved without hesitation, interposing himself even though he knew the strike could tear him apart. The harmonic force slammed into his chest, burning through muscle and armor. Yet something unexpected happened. The champion's resonance surged outward, forming a protective prism around him. The energy dispersed into fractured light, leaving Rhys gasping but alive. The council leader froze. "Impossible." Rhys looked down at his trembling hands. The prism had responded to his instinct to protect, not to any calculated order. The champion rose again, towering over the council leader. "Human emotion shapes resonance," it declared. "Not through purity, through intent." The leader staggered, its glow flickering erratically. "You invert our foundation." Rhys stepped beside the champion. "Maybe your foundation needed cracking." The champion extended its hand once more, pulse steady. Rhys placed his palm against it, their connection sparking a wave of dual resonance that swept across the chamber. The council's harmonics sputtered under the pressure. Their rigid frequencies fractured, refusing to hold. The chamber's ceiling splintered, releasing a cascade of radiant dust that illuminated the entire arena in a dim, trembling glow. Silence fell, broken only by the crackling of unstable resonance. The council leader stared at them, defeated yet unwilling to admit collapse. Rhys held its gaze. "Your species doesn't have to choose between clarity and chaos. You can live with both." The champion echoed him. "We can evolve." One by one, the council members dimmed their hostile frequencies. The leader faltered, then finally lowered its stance. "If we accept this, we become something unknown." Rhys nodded. That's the point. The champion's resonance softened, no longer fractured, but layered in harmony. The chamber stabilized around them, adapting to the new frequency. For the first time since Rhys arrived in the crystalline world, the Aurelith stood not as observers or captors, but as a species on the cusp of change, caught between uncertainty and possibility. And as the champion looked down at him with something resembling gratitude, Rhys felt the shift settle inside his chest. Quiet, steady, human.